You shouldn't do things differently just because they're different. They need to be better. When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. Talent is extremely important. It's like a sports team. The team that has the best individual player will often win. But then there's a multiplier from how those players work together and the strategy they employ. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is a disaster. I don't think it's a good idea to plan to sell a company. We have a strict no assholes policy at SpaceX. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. The path to the CEO's office should not be through the CFO's office, and it should not be through the marketing department. It needs to be through engineering and design. Really pay attention to negative feedback and solicit it, particularly from friends. Hardly anyone does that, and it's incredibly helpful. Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. If you're co-founder or CEO, you have to do all kinds of tasks you might not want to do. If you don't do your chores, the company won't succeed. No task is too menial. There's a tremendous bias against taking risks. Everyone is trying to optimize their ass covering. Don't delude yourself into thinking something's working when it's not, or you're gonna get fixated on a bad solution. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. Being an entrepreneur is like eating glass and staring into the abyss of death. Brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will be ahead, other times it will be behind. But brand is simply a collective impression some have about a product. I always invest my own money in the companies that I create. I don't believe in the whole thing of just using other people's money. I don't think that's right. I'm not going to ask other people to invest in something if I'm not prepared to do so myself. I think we have a duty to maintain the light of consciousness to make sure it continues into the future. Starting and growing a business is as much about the innovation, drive, and determination of the people behind it as the product they sell. You have to say, well, why did it succeed where others did not? People work better when they know what the goal is and why. It is important that people look forward to coming to work in the morning and enjoy working. I say something, and then it usually happens. Maybe not on schedule, but it usually happens. I always have optimism, but I'm realistic. It was not with the expectation of great success that I started Tesla or SpaceX. It's just that I thought they were important enough to do anyway. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. I don't spend my time pontificating about high-concept things. I spend my time solving engineering and manufacturing problems. My biggest mistake is probably weighing too much on someone's talent and not someone's personality. I think it matters whether someone has a good heart